this thing. He's he mad. He's sleepy. Yeah. Day 17. Doing all right. Got to get to 2,500 words today, so that's the goal. It is what it is. Can't hate on it. I'm gonna have some Timbits. Because why not? Or just one. Mostly bought it for the fam here, so honey dip. Very nice. Yeah, we're at 181K pretty much. Nothing's really changed. A lot to unpack with the scenes. So I'm gonna just be kind of locked in. I don't know, there's not much to say. I'm just still waking up a little bit. Yeah, it'll be a good day. It'll be a good day. I just need to figure out how to finish this chapter well. I feel like I could fuck it up if I don't really put all the quality I want into it. Most of it just comes from pacing the scene right. I was gonna pace it a lot slower, but I realized I probably need to make some shorter chapters before the chapters that are coming up, because those are very dramatic, very big chapters that change the whole trajectory of the plot. So yeah, we're coming up on the third act. This is near the end of the second act. The characters are getting exploded. They're getting burned. They're fighting for their lives. So gotta make it entertaining. Yeah, I gotta pace it better, because the original plan was like 4 decently long scenes, but I feel like to surprise readers, I think the scene I'm talking about, I gotta speed up a little bit, have a pretty dramatic finish, and then the final scene of the chapter will be something more relaxing, considering the beginning of the chapter was a little more intense. So yeah, this is chapter 25. It's called Maw, like the maw of, I don't know, a beast. But it refers to kind of a metaphorical maw of a volcano that they are going inside of. It's pretty freaky. But yeah, I'll see you when I get something done. So I'm out here now. It's around 4:30, in between there, and I finished around 1,400 words, excuse me. Yeah, I was just thinking about like the pacing of my chapter, and just the size that it has to be, because I did mention this before, where I plan to write this really long kind of action scene, where I kind of realized that there's no point in writing it so long, because you think about, if you want explosive action, you write short generally, right? If you want prolonged, difficult, kind of brutal action, you might want to write it in longer sentences. You want to make the chapter longer, all that kind of stuff, all the scenes, and like you want to compare, not only to your genre and an audience and all that, but just to what you wrote before it and what you bugs. What you plan to write after it. So for example, I've already written quite a few long chapters. This one doesn't need to be quite long. It's kind of a interlude. It's a shift in perspective for the characters. It's a shift in their quest. It's something that they plan to do, but now this really changes everything. This particular scene I just wrote, it kind of changes the trajectory of the plot. Where the characters are going, what they want, what they need. So yeah, I just had to contemplate that and how it fits into the larger narrative. I mean, I wanted to write basically more just content in order to fill it out, and drive build up, but I realized I don't need build up. I actually need build up after the fact. So that's what I'm telling you, is just there's a lot of ways to go about it, a lot of advice to take, or to avoid, but you generally want to take in the fact and contemplate what you need for your particular situation, because writing stories are such a broad kind of thing. There's so many different niches, so rather than kind of talking about genre limitations of how long, what does size matter? That's the real question, right? And it does in this sense. You could argue if it matters in other senses, but yeah. So my iPhone storage died, but I got rid of some stuff that was unnecessary. So just to conclude this little session, when you compare kind of like a pin to watermelon, the watermelon looks pretty big, but if you compare the watermelon to like a mountain or a house or whatever, the watermelon's small. So you kind of have to approach scenes in that same way. Like, does your scene stand out for a reason, or is it just big because you want it to be big? You'd surprise how often that applies, because pacing matters a lot, structure matters a lot, and those are the two things when it comes to size. You have to have a reason for everything to be that way. Now, of course, if you want a long story, good. That's not a wrong thing. It's just you have to fill it in with things that matter, key points that align with each other. And this doesn't just go for novels. This goes for chapters. This goes for scenes. Again, because it's these substructures within the structure, and that's the big issue with a lot of writing, and just like trying to fill things for the sake of filling things. Like, of course, you can still want a long story and to fill it, but you have to fill it with meaning to whatever is happening. So you want to pace it correctly. You want the right size for that, and as well as structure. So, for example, my own story, this section, as I said, needs to be short because the section before it was quite long. The chapters before it were quite long because a lot was happening. Now this is kind of an interlude section. It changes the perspectives and trajectories of certain things. So it's a lot more abrupt and snappy. And then the next few chapters are where there's real build up to something bigger. Chapter 26 is the kind of rising action of this section, and then chapter 27 is the climax of this section, and it's all been leading up to it. And so this chapter 25, is the beginning setup of this, with several pieces of dialogue that foreshadow what is to come. So yeah, just take all these pieces together. It's just a puzzle you need to fill, but you can't just fill it with random pieces. You have to connect them correctly, right? So that's the real biggest, I think the hardest part of writing is we all kind of know, we usually imagine these scenes separately, and then the real trouble is connecting them, which sometimes, you do think of it beforehand. Sometimes it's more intuitive, and other times, especially if you're like a gardener / pantser, you're gonna have a hard time, and you just do have a hard time connecting the pieces. But whichever part you're most confident in, the beginning and the middle of the end, as long as it all connects logically, and the emotional pins are there along the major events, should be all good. So that's what I kind of learned from today's issue, where I didn't want it to be too long. I realized my fault, where I just wanted to prolong it for the sake of just making it epic. But when you're writing an action scene, it's all about the stakes and all about the meaning behind every action, rather than just actions by themselves. Because tension doesn't come from just an overload of information. It comes from knowing information and not knowing certain information, and there being some kind of dramatic irony to it, where you know things the characters don't, and the characters know things you don't, and that goes for every character in the story. So yeah, just there's that. 1,300 words down, so most of today's work is over. I guess another 1,000 words, and we should be good. Well, 1,200 words. Either way, we'll be fine. It's not too much work. It's not like we have to write 3,000. So yeah, another win, another dollar, another day. So yeah, day 17 is looking up. We just had some lunch earlier. It's very nice. So well, I'm locked in. I think I'm gonna work out today's abs. So yeah, I'm not gonna record it, just so it doesn't distract me. It's one of those days. I've learned that actually a lot of fitness YouTubers or influencers or whatever, they actually record after the set, or just the workout is done, because they have the nice pump, and on top of that, they're not distracted. They could just get the footage out of the way. So either I'll do that or I won't. We'll see how it is. I'll probably be too tired too, so do that. Write another 1,200, 1,300 words, 1,200 words. And we're done for the day. Other than some screenwriting, I have some pages due for Tuesday. I shortened a little bit of my time to write, just because I wanted to really pump it out, get some good material out, get to at least an hour in terms of page count, like 60 pages. So see you then. I look salty, and that's because I am. Because I said I get to like 2,500 words today, and I'm at 1908. Just take a look. Bruh. I don't get it. I don't get it. I try. I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. That's just how it is right now. Like, I mean, it does matter in the end, and I got far. And like, but the problem is, my goal isn't 100 words, it's 2,500. So it's I'm not really as far as I want to be. I don't know if I'm behind yet. I haven't like done the calculations. I'm averaging decently still, right? That 1,000 really brought it down, but at the same time, that 2,700 I got that one day really boosted up. So I mean, I got a lot higher than I did get lower from the average, but I'm still pissed off. But now I'm pretty tired, and I want to outline the chapter, because I just finished one actually. I'm on chapter 26 now, the very like beginning paragraph. Haven't gotten further than that, so now I'm outlining it just to make sure that I'm set up for the morning, and I don't have to worry about it, and I could just get into it right away. So I'm being a little proactive. So yeah, that is a couple hundred extra words, but that's just the outline. And honestly, this chapter is pretty simple. It's mostly a setup chapter leading into the big climactic moment. Before this is the climax of the second act. So yeah, things are getting crazy. The end of this chapter that I finished was also quite crazy. one of my favorite characters at this point. Just, like, really got his like spotlight. He is definitely one of the main characters, and I've neglected him for a while, but not in terms of character development, just like screen time. Screen time. That's a funny way to put it for a book. I don't know, word time, just the amount of page space he gets. He doesn't appear very often. He actually was gone for the majority of this book, or at least like half of what I've written thus far. But he was in the short story collection, most of the short stories I wrote, and there he did gain a lot of like extra insights from the main character. So he grew a little bit. I wouldn't say a lot. That's kind of more happening now with his big turning point. He went from a cowardly character to a brave one, and this really exemplifies his bravery. But I'm just getting sidetracked. I'm just trying to get this done. But I felt silly all day, a little distracted all day, but I got further than before. I should just be happy that I crossed 2,600 every day, honestly. It's a decent goal. Like, nearly 2,000 in one day is better than what I used to do most of the time. 2,000 used to be my goal, but it was unrealistic, but now I'm slowly getting to it, so that's good. That's good. We're getting somewhere anyway, so can't beat myself up about it, but I do constantly want more, because I don't know. I want to be fast. I want to be swift with my writing so I could get as much out as possible. And this isn't just in terms of publishing. I just want to get my ideas out. I want to get to the next idea, and I don't want to like sit on them too long. Anyway, I was interrupted there, but honestly, that's the end of the video anyway. Day 17 is done. Did what I could, so I'll just see you tomorrow.